As the only member of the Hawaii congressional delegation to serve on one of Congress's agriculture committees, I understand the responsibility, the kuleana I have to advocate for our state and small rural and indigenous communities, and appreciate the willingness of both the chairman and ranking member to listen, learn, and respond to the issues that we face. I've held Farm Bill roundtables and listening sessions on every island in my district to hear directly about the issues impacting Hawaii farmers, ranchers, and agricultural producers. I've visited SNAP processing centers across the state and met with nutrition advocates to discuss what more could be done to provide food security for our keiki and kupuna. I've even hosted Hawaii agriculture producers in this very room with many of my colleagues, thank you, Chair, for attending, to highlight the importance of the industry in Hawaii and what the federal government can do to support producers that don't have the same access to resources as many in the lower 48 do. I've introduced a total of 13 bills this Congress to advance priorities impacting agriculture and people in Hawaii and around the nation that I hope to have included in a final form of the Farm Bill. And while I disagree with the overall approach and impact of this draft, I am truly appreciative that some of my top priorities were included in this bill. As some of you know, while the rest of the country celebrated increases from the latest Thrifty Food Plan reevaluation, people in Hawaii, especially those on the neighbor islands in my district, saw significant decreases because of antiquated and unjust laws on the books. Significantly less money for food each month is hurting families who already live in food deserts where the costs are much higher. For many, this archaic rule has plunged their families further into poverty because it doesn't account for the cost of food in their communities. The designation of a rural and urban Thrifty Food Plan calculation in Hawaii, as is included in this bill, is the right thing to do. Bringing us to parity with Alaska to account for the higher cost of food in rural Hawaii is the least we can do right now to help our people. And while I cannot support the CPI provisions applied to it and will not rob Peter to pay Paul when it comes to neutrality, a final farm bill must have a fix to keep Hawaii fed. The inclusion of the creation of a tropical plant health initiative to step up a program within the National Institute of Food and Agriculture dedicated to tropical specialty crops is also important to Hawaii people and farmers. This would be critical to helping the tropical agriculture industry respond to new challenges and support its growth and development, and we welcome its inclusion in this particular version of the Farm Bill. Furthermore, I appreciate the committee's commitment to include canoe crops like kalo, ulu, and uala in report language. This will represent some of the first federal research investments in Native Hawaiian staple crops and will support Hawaii's efforts to grow more local food. My priorities in this bill that would directly benefit some small subsistence producers and Native Hawaiian producers in Hawaii also include an increase in the authorization to $30 million for the Microgrants for Food Security Program, authorization for non-contiguous areas, including Hawaii, to directly purchase local commodities through TFAP, reauthorization of the Alaska Native Serving and Native Hawaiian Serving Institution Education Competitive Grants Program, and reauthorization of the Regional Aquaculture Centers Program. While the full impact of my included provisions being marked up today will likely be overshadowed, quite frankly, by the national harms this bill will inflict, this mark still reflects progress on many of my top priorities, and I hope they will continue to be on the table as we head into the next stage of negotiations of the Farm Bill. I regret that what could be a bipartisan bill and process has once again been consumed by the partisan politics of our era. We owe it to our constituents to seriously work for bipartisan solutions that can become law to revitalize our rural communities, invest in the next generation of American farmers and food producers, and make our agriculture systems more resilient. I will continue to fight and work with all of you for the priorities I've introduced throughout this process until we get a farm bill that meets the urgent needs of our small farmers, our rural communities, and our indigenous people. To that end, I want to thank the chairman, the ranking member, committee staff, and all of my fellow members for their continued partnership.